Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. This soap is going to be the first soap in our Easter series this year, and I had to do a couple of things ahead of time in order to get ready for it. One of them is an embed. So I have never made wood grain soap. Watched a few videos and got some tips, and as you'll see, I'm not thinking mine turned out awesome or anything, but because it was an embed soap and I was cutting it up anyway, I wasn't too concerned. So I was kind of just winging it and gonna go with what I turned out with. So I just had my regular recipe. The only thing that I didn't do was put in the milks in this, and I was just trying to keep it fluid. To be honest with you, I wasn't 100% sure, since I hadn't done this before, what I wanted the consistency to be. And I was trying to match some of the other soapers I've seen do this on YouTube. So I pre-mixed my mica with some light oil in each of the containers that I was going to use, and I was trying here to get the right shade of brown to be my base color. And then I'll pour batter in all of the little cups and get them thoroughly mixed. And then I will start combining the colors based on some of the videos that I watched on YouTube. And not that my soap turned out anywhere near as good as some of the ones that I've seen. Definitely room for improvement and some experimenting. So adding some titanium dioxide there. And I'll have some mica that I've mixed with a light oil that I'll drip in to the batter also, just to give it some kind of sparkle, some texture. And honestly, we're just winging it. It took forever for this batter to come to trace. I didn't fragrance these little embeds. I think that was probably part of the problem. And because I was wanting it to be on the thinner side, I didn't stick blend it that much. So I waited quite a while. And I thought I remembered what they did in the YouTube videos, and then I got to doing it and I was like, I don't quite know, so I just rolled with it. And the thing is with this, you're just pouring it down the side. Keep adding colors to make it look like different grains, and the soap slides down the sides and pushes the bottom over to make the effect. I definitely want to try this again because it is a really cool effect and a really cool technique to make just a wood grain soap. And I have this video sped up also, so I wasn't pouring quite this fast. You can see there I'm dripping in that copper colored and gold colored mica. And trying to make some knots in the wood instead of it all being straight. I'm not sure that really went that well for me, but that's the thing with soaping. It's just all a learning experience. I'm not sure I ever do the same thing twice anyway. Most things I change up all the time. So I probably got too much white in that one, and it did come out. You'll see when I go to cut it. And what I ended up doing with this loaf was cutting it horizontally. I don't believe I filmed that, but we ran it through the loaf cutter horizontally so that the grain would show when I cut it out with the cookie cutter. I think if the soap had been the batter had been this consistency when I started, it might have turned out a little bit more what I was looking for. So next time I'll know. Most fragrance oils help speed up trace a little bit too. So there are a few that I use that actually slow it down, but most of them help speed it up. Look at that messiness I got going on. There are definitely some great tutorials out there for doing this. I think we watched 5 or 6 in a row when we were looking at it. Everybody does it a little bit differently. Everyone's tips are a little bit different. So you just kind of got to do your own thing once you get all the information. But it is mesmerizing to watch and really kind of cool how it turns out. So I have my mold propped up on a tea towel and was holding it slanted before the batter was so full in there. But I just ordered a really cool tool, and I'll probably be doing a reveal. And that's 2 things that I ordered together. I broke my slicer, so we are really working on a broken slicer right now, my poor husband, but he's figuring it out because we've been waiting. It's been taking quite a long time to get these. I still don't have them, and it's been a while, but we are waiting. And it's this one tool that I ordered. It holds the mold at a different slant, at a different angle. So I'll be happy to get that. And I actually didn't mean slicer. I meant my loaf cutter is what I broke. So I had already sliced this. This sat overnight, and then I unmolded it, and I had already sliced it horizontally. And now I'm just doing the cookie cutter and trying to get some good wood grain in those crosses. So they turned out pretty cool. And now I am, just to help myself, side note, beard oils. My husband was videoing this. But just to help myself get the embed in there a little bit easier, instead of doing it one by one, I just took some water and did free and clear dish detergent and put those together. Just brushed it on there a little bit and put it together so they would stick. And you'll see the crosses are in clumps. This is the main soap now. I had put my milks in, my soft oils, and then put my hard oils in and blending it up to get everything dispersed in there with no clumps or lumps. And now I'm going to be adding the lye water. I was concerned about this soap becoming too thick to do the design that I wanted to do. And this is the first soap that I've made in a brand new mold that I got from a company from Canada. And so I And I don't work with single molds very much anymore either. I work with doubles and triples. And so it had been a long time since I did anything in a single mold like that. I'd forgotten, and I was pretty messy with it, you'll see. But I was concerned about this batter thickening up too much. So I was doing a lot of whisking instead of a lot of stick blending so that I could keep it the consistency I wanted. And I poured off, I had divided my batter into, basically I did 1/3 and then 2/3. So this 1/3 of the batter I wanted to be sort of like a sand, and so I wanted to lay this in and then have it thicken up so that I could put the crosses in it. And what I'm going for here, as you'll see when it's all done, is that this part would be kind of like a mound, and then I'm able to stick the crosses in it. What I did there is added some walnut hull and a few poppy seeds and a little bit of coffee. And that was just to give the illusion that there was, it's a sandy, rocky ground where the cross was. So I'm just putting some fragrance oil in that section. And I wanted to go ahead and emulsify this to get all that blended in there real well. And then I was still thinking that I was going to make kind of an ombre with the dirt. I wasn't sure how it was all going to turn out, but I wanted just to give it some not so much texture, but the illusion of the mound. And then so I'm putting some mica, like a little mica line, and I did not wait. I knew this was going to break through, and it did. Didn't really care because, again, I was going for, it's just dirt, and it was multicolored dirt, and so I didn't care about that. I had put the mold aside to let it kind of harden up, and then was trying to put this on top of the mica line, and you'll see it did break through. You can see me messy because I'm not used to working in a little area like that. So another mica line going down, and that was just to add the illusion of rocks instead of just having a plain area. So I'm just mixing colors in to give it some variables, and you can see it's thickening up real well now. So I'm basically gonna kind of plop this on the top. And made a big old mess on the sides. Again, this is my inaugural soap in this, and one of the reasons that I bought this mold was to be able to do soaps like this that can tell more of a story inside the soap than what some of my doubles and triples are doing. Just makes it easier for me to get it lined up and control a lot of things that I can't control in the double and triple. So here I'm just making a little bit of a hill inside. So anyways, and I with Easter coming up, I really just wanted to tell the story of Jesus on the cross with the soap. So I thought this would just be a perfect one to honor Jesus with this very first soap, since he has honored my business so much, opening so many doors and things, and just blessed us so much all the way through this past 5 years. So anyways, that's why I picked this soap. And there's the crosses kind of stuck together, and I try to put them in and decide it's too soft. So I put the whole thing aside, and now I'm back to the main batter. And I had an idea and a drawing in my head of what I wanted to do. And I'm not sure I accomplished what I had in my head, but I'm still happy with the way that it did turn out. The description of Jesus on the cross talks about how it was 3 hours after it got dark. And so I didn't want this to be a bright and cheery soap if it intended to tell the actual story. So here I'm decided it's hard enough and I'm putting these in. And so I wanted there to be some clouds, gray, and then black. I'm not a huge fan myself of a lot of black in the soap unless I'm doing like a man's activated charcoal soap or something like that. And this does have activated charcoal in it, so the lather could be a little bit of gray when it's lathered. But anyways, in order to get that effect, I did was mixing colors together to try to look like the sky behind it was, turning kind of from blue to gray to black. I'm not sure I got a total ombre thing going on. I had a lot going on here for my first try in this mold too. But that's what I'm doing here, is trying to mix colors and make it vary only a little bit between pores, so that it looks a little bit more like a gradient sky. And here I'm glad the batter stayed thin, and just filling it up with that light gray. And I was trying to kind of clean off the crosses a little bit because I didn't know how much that would show in the soap, that it was almost became like a little shelf where the soap was resting. I was kind of worried about that, and then I was like, well, it is what it is, so I stopped worrying about it and just went on with myself. So this was the next darkest color that I poured in, and I wanted there to be it to turn like kind of a grayish blue and then dark. So that's where the blue came in. I put some titanium dioxide in that because the fragrance oil turns the batter yellow, and I just really didn't want the blue and the yellow to mix and have it be green. And so, side note about the fragrance oil, I chose sandalwood and mixed in frankincense and spikenard, cassia, and some cinnamon, because those were the oils that were used to take care of Jesus's body. And the article I was reading said that between that and the spices, if they used that amount today, it would be around $200,000. So I'm continuing to mix it all together. I didn't even want it to be mixed perfectly. I wanted there to be some streaks in the sky and add some black in there because I was, things were darkening up as they did that day. And the name of this soap, I did a lot of research, things that I already knew, but just couldn't decide what I wanted to name the soap, and ended up decided I'm going to name it Passion, probably in parentheses the and then Passion. Probably many of you are aware of the Passion plays and different things that you may have seen that tell the story of Jesus and Good Friday to Easter. But that period of time on those days is called the Passion, and it has to do with his passion for us and giving up his life for us to be saved. Here's one of the things that I read. For us, that meditating on his passion will strengthen us against temptation and move us to frequent confession, keeping us on the path of salvation. And this article that I'm reading says that by embracing our crucified Lord and his cross, we will come to the glory of the resurrection. So even though this soap might seem a little dark, actually we celebrate and are thankful for the fact that Jesus went to the cross for us, because what that meant for us is that we were saved by his blood. So to me personally, this is not a dark moment, because without it, what would that mean for eternity for all of us? So there is victory in Jesus is the way I look at it. And I just wanted to do a soap to honor what he's done for us. So for those of you who aren't sure of the story, message me. I'll send you information if you want to know more, if you aren't familiar with this. And for those of you that are, I'm hoping that this is honoring. You'll have to comment and let me know if you feel that I honored Jesus the way that you would have liked to have seen in something like a soap. I made too much batter for this mold. I was pouring, with the white batter, I was pouring lots of extra things on the side as I was waiting for these layers to harden up. So these, I was just haphazardly dribbling, trying to get like a cloud effect. And again, making it a little bit different color. So there was a variation in clouds at the top. So I learned a lot making this soap. There's some things that I probably would do differently in terms of what I thought was going to work, what did work, what didn't work. But overall, I'm still very happy with the way that it turned out. And in terms of the mold, this mold is wonderful. It's awesome and just really sturdy. And you'll see here, it's the next day now. And I usually don't wear a heavy sweater up here when I'm doing soap, but I had just come home from church and I was really eager to get up here and see what had happened with it and see inside. So this is my first time ever taking this apart. And I usually do not turn my soaps over and let them drop. But in order for the silicone to work at its best and stay at its best, you kind of need to pop that bottom and let it slide out. So it didn't hurt anything to do it that way. And you can see the side. The shiny copper is from the mica line and me getting the mica on the side of the soap. So I might plane that off. I might not. We'll see. And now we've got the hubs and he is videoing the cut. And I will say that we had two video cameras going, this angle and the next angle I'm going to show you. And the other angle, which is the better angle, I didn't turn the video on immediately when we started doing it. So there's only part of that from the other angle. And I know you can't see the inside, but it's kind of cool because it's suspenseful. But anyway, there's your first view of it. And at first glance, I was like, oh, I don't know. And then the more I looked at it, the more I was like, you know what? This is perfect. So some of the batter, I believe, might have seeped down into the cracks between the crosses, or I'm not even sure what happened, but we are going to plane those so that if there are any where the cross is not too clear, we'll plane that so that you get that full effect. But you can see, like in that one, it almost looks like you could walk up the hill, and each one of them is different. I did have breakthrough when I poured the layers, so and I wasn't worried at all about that. So each one of them is very different. The crosses are all very different. And like I said, I didn't get more of that on video. So anyways, but that is how it turned out. I do think that it does look like the cross on the hill. And I'm just really happy with that. Comment below and let me know what you think. And here is, he's planing. Now this is pretty soft because we've just cut it and we don't want to mess up the corners of it. So we didn't continue with the planing, but that is what it would look like. And some of them are clearer than others and don't need to be planed at all. But I do think it's really cool. So I hope you do too. And please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. and hit the notification bell so you can see more videos. Thank you so much for supporting One Mustard Seed Soaps, and I hope you have a blessed day.